Oh, we already do? Okay, good. We're now joined by Jake Witt, Northern Michigan offensive lineman, who joins us. Thanks to Lauren for setting this up. Jake Witt with us on 365 Sports with Craig Smoke, and I'm David Smoke. Jake, thanks for your time. What are the nerves or the anxiety? How would you rate that right now on a scale of 1 to 10?
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. But, nerves and anxiety, there's so much unknown that's about to happen. And, it's obviously very nerve-wracking, but it's also very exciting at the same time.
Jake, what were your expectations or kind of knowledge of the draft process heading into this? Did you receive much advice? Have you poked around? And just how has it all been to take in these last several weeks and months now?
Yeah, after the pro day, it kind of all blew up for me. Previous to that, I hadn't had much experience with this process, right? So I had some good mentors in my life that had been through it all, and they helped me along the whole process. But it's really, a lot of it's been a learning experience as I've gone on.
Jake, okay, so you blow up because of that sub 5.0. You ran, in fact, a sub 4.8. You weigh 300 pounds. You're a big man, a big human being. Did you kind of know in the back of your mind that was going to happen? And what was it like with the interest level before compared to after?
Yeah. So we went into the pro day. We knew I could hit those numbers, but we just needed to get to that pro day and, show that we could. So, beforehand, I was probably in contact with 8 to 9 teams, and, now where I've talked to 31 out of the 32. So it certainly blew up. It exploded my exposure to these teams, and, it's been fun ever since.
Take us through your, transformation into an offensive lineman, your transformation into being a prospect at that position, given your backstory for the folks at home that don't know much about your journey. Kind of how did all this come together to where you're now, being looked at this way at this position?
Yeah. So, right out of high school, I started my college journey, played a year of college basketball at Michigan Tech. After that year, transferred to Northern. I was a student for one semester, and then I walked onto the football team as a tight end. That's right when COVID hit, so we had a full year and a half of training, no competition, anything like that. I was a tight end for the 2021 season. I was our starting tight end until I had to switch mid-game against Ferris State to play right tackle due to some injuries we had. So I played the final 3 games of 2021 at right tackle. Then I made the full transformation here this past offseason to play this 22 season at left tackle.
So how much do scouts love that you have that versatility and obviously having not just been all in with this, for the last 10, 15 years like some other prospects? What kind of versatility, or what did that versatility show to scouts? What kind of feedback did you get from that?
Yeah, it's certainly a positive thing. There's some negatives that come with it, obviously lack of experience, but the positives, my ability to, grasp onto a position or a sport and make that change and be successful at it. That's what scouts love about it. Because obviously I'm a developmental prospect. So going into this, I'm going to have to be a sponge, take everything in, be a quick learner. And that's something that this whole process has shown the scouts, that have been able to play 2 college sports, 2 positions in football, and still be in the position I am right now.
Jake, let's try to look at this in clarity terms. You obviously can play. There's a reason why that you were doing what you did at Northern Michigan, and also the background Craig brought up. But what do you think the 40 or the combine time or the pro day times and measurements did from, would you have been drafted at some point or an undrafted free agent, and this launches you into no question you're probably going to get your number called?
Yeah, like you said, that kind of blew it up for me. So I would say before my numbers were out there, it was probably, an 80% chance, 90% chance that I was going to be an undrafted free agent. Like you said, it kind of blew it up to now where the teams see I'm, over 300 pounds. I'm still moving very, very well. I'm healthy, and that's kind of an exciting thing for teams to where I'm now projected to, like you said, be 6th or 7th round pick. Whereas, like I said before, I was projected to be mostly an undrafted free agent.
Mm-hmm. Are you played 8-man football in high school?
I did. I was a wide receiver. Yep.
Well, okay. What was that like? And there are stories of those who played even in the state of Texas or like Nebraska and other states that have 6 or 8 man football. How much of a transition was it from that to what you did when you went to Michigan Tech early on in your career?
Yeah, so I mean, on the game of 8-man football, you drop two linemen and a skill position player. So, I was playing wide receiver. I went out. I only played 2 years of high school football at the 8-man level. Went out, played basketball for a year, and then luckily, like you said, there's going to be a huge learning curve going from that 8-man high school level to the 11-man college level. So, good thing about the whole COVID pandemic for me was that it allowed a full year of just practice, just learning the game, getting used to the physicality and the blocking schemes. So I was truly, kind of blessed. That was a nice thing about that whole COVID year. Obviously, there were a bunch of many negative things about it, but that learning curve was pretty big. But we got over that hump in that practice year, and it allowed me to be successful at that position the following season.
What kind of spurred you into the whole let's go play football, given, starting off your college career playing basketball? Because now, look at where you are and what could be on the horizon. It's just a very interesting choice that if you don't make it, then, who knows where you are? But what kind of spurred that on?
Yeah, so, actually coming out of high school, 2 of my 3 final options were football. So I narrowed it down. I was going to play football at 2 universities or going to Michigan Tech to play basketball. Northern happened to be one of those 2 schools I was going to come play football at. So when I got on Northern's campus, I reconnected with the coaches. I started training at the sports performance gym here in town. And at the time, he was the strength coach, for Northern Michigan's football program. So he talked me, into it. And, I just had that itch to play, so I got back to training, got in good shape for football, and, we reconnected with the coaches, and I walked onto the team.
That's a great story. Do you get offended if someone was to call you a project or raw?
No, absolutely not. I think that's 100% correct. There's no hiding from that. If you look at how it is, it's just, I played 1 year at the position, Division II level player. So there's going to be a learning curve with that. I would 100% agree with that statement that I'm a raw athlete, and which is kind of a good thing. Not too many bad habits in that aspect, and it's also for a good coach to take me like a ball of clay and mold. So it's a good thing with also some negatives with it.
So you have a degree in exercise science. Obviously, you're in great shape. You have taken care of your body. How much of that education and your degree has helped you train for now or even throughout your college career?
It's helped a ton. I think the thing with it that has really benefited me throughout this whole process has been the nutrition aspect about it. So, I graduated. I got my personal training certification back in 2021. And I had clients, and I was very well educated in the nutrition side of it as well. So, fast forward to a year and a half forward till now, this whole spring's with as far as nutrition, recovery, all that stuff, it's truly been beneficial, having that education behind it, because I know how to take care of my body, how to fuel it, and I put on, 20 pounds since last season, and all of that had to do with my nutrition that I gave myself.
Jake, you played north of Green Bay, or is that where you were from, north of Green Bay, Wisconsin?
I was from north of Green Bay. I also played up here.
That's right.
Yep.
So we have a picture of you pass blocking, and you don't have anything on but the short sleeves. Now, I don't know. That could have been like in any kind of weather or even an indoor. Were you one of those when it was like -3 wind chill or 5 degrees wind chill, whatever it is, that didn't put anything on? You just went, okay, I'm going to intimidate guys with just showing my arms.
Yeah, we were kind of like that. Especially growing up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan here, we played in high school. We had playoff games where, it'd be snowing pretty darn hard, and it was, 20 degrees with a nice wind coming across. So but we only played one super cold game this year, and that was kind of how it was. That team was conditioned to it because that was their home field, right? So we were the kind of guys that are like, we're not going to put sleeves on, So yeah, we were going sleeveless out there in the cold.
How many NFL franchises have you had a visit with?
I've gone on 6 visits and then 2 private workouts as well.
So what are the visits like? Your agent obviously is involved as well, but how kind of take us, for those that don't know, what is the process? Someone contacts your agent or you, and what happens from that point until you're done with the visit?
Yeah, so my first visit that I'd gone on, I was sitting at Culver's at 7 p.m. with my family the night before. They were in town visiting. And then I got a call from my agent, and he says, hey, this team wants to fly you out tomorrow. So, it's as quick as that. A team finds an opening in their schedule. They want to fly you out as soon as they can. So I hopped on the plane the next day, got down there in my hotel. And then the following day, which was the visit day, they did all their medical stuff, which is probably the most important thing for a non-combine player like myself. Just getting cleared medically, and then meeting with the general manager, the head coach, the position coaches, so offensive line coaches for me. And, just sitting down, kind of getting a vibe, with all those guys. And then maybe talking a little football, maybe just talking about my life in the past, or maybe talking a little bit of their scheme to see how I learn. Every visit's a little bit different, but they're all similar. It's medical, and then you meet with the general manager and the coaches, and then head back to your hotel, fly out the next day back home. So.
And do you have any more, or is there a timeline, and then eventually those get shut down between now and next Thursday when the draft begins?
Yeah, so the 19th, I have one more planned, flying out tomorrow, and then the visit's on the 19th or the 18th. But the last day they can do them is the 19th. So, yeah, right after that, there will be no more.
And can you tell us where you're going?
What was that? Sorry.
Can you tell us who you're visiting?
We're going to keep that
okay.
just confidential for now. But
I had to ask. When you went to
I feel you.
Yeah, when you went to go play basketball at Michigan Tech, how quickly after you were there did you start to get kind of that, man, I don't know if the word is scratch an itch or what it would be about football?
Yeah, so, the thing that actually, forced my transfer, well, not necessarily forced, but sparked it, was the fact that Michigan Tech did not have the program I wanted to study. So I realized that, in that first semester, but I played the rest of the season. Spring came around, I talked to the coaches, told them, and, the rest is history. Transferred to Northern, walked onto the team, and here we are.
Any particular night you want to play for anybody that calls you, drafts you, signs you? Is there anyone in particular, though, that you have a fondness for?
Really any opportunity. I'm really looking for a team that has a fantastic developmental offensive line staff. So a team, because that's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need some development. So, you can look at the league and see there's a number of teams that are fantastic at doing that. And, landing at one of those teams would be the best thing for my career.
Jake, you've obviously been humble throughout your career, what you've accomplished and where you are. Where did you get grounded? What was that foundation of who you are? Tell us a little bit about your background with that.
Yeah, it was a lot to do with, my parents, the way they brought me up, and also the community I was raised in. It was a small, tiny little community, graduated with 16 classmates, and really everybody from that area is pretty darn humble. It's a lot of farmers, loggers and stuff. So it's a lot of blue collar people over that way, and it's just a humble community. And I think the way my parents brought me up, as well as how the community formed me and shaped me, is led me to be the way I am today.
So, have you ever been ice fishing?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. We would go ice walleye fishing all the time up here in the winter.
How long do you stake out an area, or do you just go out to a certain spot? You kind of how do you find where they're at? Is that just something over history and experience?
A lot of it's with experience, but I'll go out with my friends, and they'll have a spot they fish all winter. They'll have their ice shack out there permanently all winter, so we'll go there. Otherwise, it's really just going out to a spot that has some decent depth, and poking a hole in the ice and going from there.
I went to the Super Bowl in Minneapolis, and we were able to drive out on the lake. It was obviously ice cold. A friend of ours had a friend that took us out. We enjoyed that a lot. And you see, I guess, people who are staying there at night. Is that comfortable, or is that just something you get used to?
Personally, I've only ever done one all-nighter, and to be honest with you, it wasn't as much fun as it sounds. Staying out all night. That's for the hardcore guys. I mean, the ice shack gets cold. You can't sleep, and you have to constantly shine your light out to make sure your tip ups are still there, right? So it's not it's not as much fun as it seems, but a lot of the hardcore fishermen up here do that.
So when that call comes, whenever it is, whatever day it is, can you kind of at all preview what that feeling is going to be like and what you might and how you might react?
Yeah, I'll be surrounded with, a lot of my favorite people, my family, some of my great friends that have been there since the start of the journey. And, when that call comes in, it's going to be a kind of a culmination of all the hard work that I put in leading up to this. All of the visualization, all the goal setting. It's going to be an emotional time, but a very exciting one as well. And, it kind of marks the start of a new chapter in my life.
I'm going to make one more comment about how humble you are. I know you said you had 16 students, I think, in your graduating class, but
Yep.
Where were you ranked in that class?
I was ranked at the top. Yep.
Valedictorian, right?
Yep.
There you go. Congratulations on that and being a student athlete. Jake, thank you very much. What a great story. We appreciate your time so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's great chatting.
Yeah, you too. Jake Witt from Northern Michigan. He was at Michigan Tech, wanted to play basketball. He told a story about how he ended up, had that itch. He didn't play football but a couple of years at an 8-man school. And now he will be a part of someone's NFL franchise, whether it, like